Welcome to the Unfiltered with Kara podcast. I created this podcast for one reason and one reason only. I want to help you live your best life while you journey out here as a human for an average of 28,000 days. Tune in for conversations, inspiration, tips and tricks for freeing yourself from the bullshit that weighs you down so you can create a full and happy life, a life that is worthy of you. Welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered with Kara podcast. My guest today is Miss Chanae Wood. Chanae is an award-winning attorney, entrepreneur, and lifestyle visionary who helps developers, founders, and businesses bring bold ideas to life. Through her legal practice, she guides transformative land use and development projects from concept to approval while helping entrepreneurs navigate complex regulatory systems with purpose and impact. She is the founder of ROM 8, which is a faith-based lifestyle brand empowering high-achieving women to align mind, body, and soul. And she is the creator and host of the Envision Me conference, which is a signature experience centered on healing, vision, and faith-driven living. A published author featured in Ebony magazine and a powerful advocate for wellness and self-belief after losing over 80 pounds, Chanae inspires women to step fully into the life they were called to live. And I am so excited to share her with you for this amazing interview. So take a listen. All right. Welcome, Miss Chanae Wood to the Unfiltered with Kara podcast.
Awesome.
So
Thank you for
excited.
having me.
Yes, ma'am. So excited to have you. I've been looking forward to this interview just because since connecting with you, I just really saw the soul behind not only what you do, but who you are and what you stand for. And you're just the vibe that I want to share with my listeners. I want them to know women like you. I want them to know that, there are women out here who have the heart that you have, and I love that. So please introduce yourself. Obviously, I know a lot of good about you, but they don't, right? So just bless them with a little Chanae this morning. So tell us about you, who you are, your background, and then we'll get right into it.
So absolutely, first and foremost, thank you though. Thank you for having me here and for seeing me. I think that also is so important. When you reached out and we met for breakfast, it was just like, I'm so proud of you and I'm so happy for you and all these things. And I was like, wow, like you really were given flowers. And so that in itself says a lot about you. And so I'm just so appreciative to just even be on this platform with you. So thank you. Um, for those of you who do not know, my name is Chanae Wood, and it's hard, whenever I get this question to introduce yourself, it's so hard to do because I'm like, girl, I'm all the things, okay? Like, all the things is what I do, but I'm a wife, a mother, a full-time attorney. I practice municipal and land use law, and I am the proud founder of ROM 8, which is a lifestyle brand that helps women align their mind, body, and souls. And so we do that by curating events that that blends faith, wellness, and beauty in a way that feels modern and approachable. And it is something that is near and dear to my heart. And through it, we've birthed Envision Me Conference, which is just a 3-day transformational experience where mind, body, and soul, we are pouring into the woman to make the whole woman whole. And so that's our mission throughout the entire year. But at the top of the year in January every year, we come together to give those tools and those resources so that women can actually accomplish the goals that they've set before themselves. Because there is no point to be on this earth if you are not walking in your purpose and you are not aligned in a way that makes you feel fulfilled from top to bottom. So it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm happy to be here to like share more about that in my platform, and then also a little bit more about maybe the parts of me that people don't really get to see that often. So we'll see where this goes, but I'll stop there and we'll see how much we unpack but
Awesome, awesome.
those
No,
are the things.
girl, you're yes. So one of the things that I want people to get just off the cuff with what you're saying, and that's what Again, I always say you're here 28,000 days roughly, right? This human experience, and then you're out, right? So talking about creating a life of fulfillment and embracing the fact that you are multifaceted. That's the first thing that just jumped out at what, when you said, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an attorney. Like I
Yeah.
am all the things, and I'm embracing all the things. And this is about breaking out of boxes because it's uncomfortable, especially when the world is seeing you a certain way and has pretty much typecasted you a certain way to go into other things. So talk about that. First of all, give us a little more insight into Raw Mate and how that came about and how you have been able to bridge being a full-time attorney and being a visionary, an entrepreneur, and a really just a creator of a space that is not legal. Right?
Yes, I will happily tell you so because I think there is freedom on the other side of breaking out of the box. And Raw really is just that. It is a form where God placed this vision in my mind, and I had this, I don't know, like this whisper for him. It was like early in the morning as I'm waking up. And this voice, it was so audible and so clear. And it said, don't be afraid to go outside the four corners of the box. And at that time, I was really struggling in my career where, on one hand, sure, I love what I do as an attorney. And there's an intellectual side of me that I fiend for that brain challenge. I fiend for that, that ability to solve problems and to be advocates for my clients. I love it. I do. But then there is this creator side and this other side that loves fashion, that loves beauty, that loves faith, that loves all these other things. And I realized throughout my life, like, I'm really gifted. And sometimes I would be afraid to say that out loud out of fear of, like, does this sound cocky? But I think it's just very
No, but that's
confident.
what I saw. That's what I saw and reached out and wanted to give you your flowers because I know it's like a lone wolf type of thing.
Yeah.
It's a very it when you, especially when you know it, but the world outside of you feel like they don't get it, right? You're trying to fit their lens, but you know that you're much more. And so I'm very big on when I see a woman like that, because I'm her, to make sure I let her know it's okay to be that way. It's okay to be,
Yeah.
it's
And
okay to be that.
I
So
was
yeah.
not okay with it originally. I was afraid of it. And afraid of it from the standpoint of, what is this going to look like? People are going to think I'm leaving the law to go be a trainer, or now I'm into this wellness stuff. How does this work? Like, I still, there was this bit of insecurity, if I'm being honest, that a fear of how I would be perceived if I were to make a shift. And then the more and more I kept doing this, and the more and more I realized, like, there's nothing wasted. God don't waste nothing. And so if he gave me these gifts and these talents, it's for a reason. And with Raw May, it was for the first time in my life where I started to realize, like, oh, we're putting all this under the same umbrella. I'm not going to continue to separate Chanae the attorney versus Chanae the creator versus Chanae the founder. I'm Chanae. And either you're going to take this Chanae or you're going to get no Chanae at all. And I think
Right.
that is the way I approach my career now, is that you got to get to a point in your life where you know your value, you know your worth, you know what you bring to the table. I'm a good attorney, okay? I'm at what I'm able to do at this point in my career. For a while, I used to think to myself, like, it would overlook me in I guess I would overlook it because it comes naturally for me.
Yeah.
And so once I started realizing, like, no, girl, this is a gift. And you know your value, you know your worth. This is what I bring to the table. So if you want me here at your table, this is what I need you to do for me. And so I think once you start to realize what you're good at, then you can talk like that and you can actually be that because your work product backs it up. And I realized, like, sometimes I don't want to be irresponsible and tell people, like, go do all the things, girl. You got to know if you can do all the things, right? Because some of us are capable, some of us may not. I've spent years, I would say, building up my capacity to be able to handle as much as I handle right now. Because some days, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'd be like, baby, girl, what did you do now? Like, how is this gonna work, Chanae? But then there's other times where I'm like, I know what I can do. There's people at work that have made comments like, you sure you want to do this or you want to do that, or maybe you should slow down, or I don't need nobody telling me what I can and cannot do. I'm so clear. I'm so crystal clear on what I can handle. And if I can't handle it, I'm also very, like, quick and be like, I don't have the capacity right now. So I think when it comes down to, like, doing all the things and being all the things that I do, that is the core of it. The core of it is I had to realize, like, I had to tap into a different confidence internally to know, one, that if I was able to do it, but for two, like, otherwise you'll have these wasted gifts that kind of just sit around and you do nothing with it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna be the one that's not doing nothing with it. I'm gonna do
Listen,
something.
I love that. And so there's something when I was in the Mary Kay world that they would say, and that hit me. And it says, where is the richest place on earth? And it's the graveyard, because that's where so many people went to rest with gifts and talents buried inside of them that they never used. And
That's
I
true.
was like, I'd be damned if I were to close my two eyes, have had known who I am and
Yep.
have had known what has been placed inside of me, and die with my music unplayed. Like, I would not under, like, literally not under my watch, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen. So talk about Rom 8 as what I know it is, because they don't know. It's Romans 8. Please tell the people, okay?
Yes,
We got to pull out
absolutely.
the Bible so we can read that scripture, because that
Yeah,
I want to honor that piece, because
absolutely.
what it says to me is it's anchored in a calling, and that's why you're so I can hear you're so convicted, right? Because this is not something that is just coming from your intellect of I want to do more and just to do more, right?
Yeah.
This is something that has been placed on your heart. It's a calling, and you know that you've been equipped for. Talk about that piece a little bit.
Absolutely. So Raw Made really was birthed from my own struggles and pain. And I think it goes back to childhood for me in I struggled for years with body image, confidence, things of that nature, right? And so people from the outside looking in would look at me and say, like, you're like, how did you struggle with those things? And I would say, you see me now, right? And so you see the years of work that I did to rebuild myself from the places that I came from. And but those insecurities, they kind of lived with me through high school and then college. And I think little by little, being around people that saw me, I always say this about my husband. He saw me before I saw me. And I think that ability for him to see me and to and empower me the way he did, especially early on in our relationship, helped me to walk and to become the woman that I am, right? And so sometimes it's so important to align yourself with, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's with friendships, with people that can see you as to who you actually are, and not the insecurities that you have told yourself and these things and what the world have told you.
It's
And
not
so
sometimes it's important. It is
yeah, it is important.
essential. It
Yeah.
is essential. And you have to consistently do an audit of the people who are around you, because many times those insecurities actually are being fed by the people that you choose to have around you. So you want to make sure that the people who are around you are holding a vision of who you truly are and holding that for you. I have those friendships
Yeah.
where that's what is having me step into what they see for me, and vice versa. You know, holding that. I have a friend of mine that she says all the time, you know, thank you for always reminding me of who I am.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to let you finish that, but I want to make sure that we anchor that if the people around you, friends, partner, family, all of that, that they're not doing what this man is doing for Chanae, they need to be in your auditing, you know, question of how much time they get to spend. Okay, so carry on.
100%.
To add that.
No, sometimes you do have to put a little explanation point on a thing. So, and honestly, that was very transform. That was, I guess, the first turning point as to the transformation. But ultimately, I still kept doing this like cycle of like depression and sadness and not enough. Am I like, you know, just so many things, and it dealt a lot with my weight. I would say my highest, I was about 250 pounds. And I struggle with, I never really thought to myself, like, if someone asked me, like, if I was bullied, that never came in my mind. But in talking to my therapist, I said, wow, I guess my siblings did bully me, if I want to be honest about it. Like, there was a lot of, like, that's why you fat, and, like, you know, I grew up with 9 other siblings. So those things all, you start to internalize it. You start to, like, become it. And there got to a point identifying with it. And so for so long that then I think, you know, that I'm so spiritual and so divine in nature that I know, and I believe this in my heart to heart, that the enemy wanted to take me out from childhood. And he used these experiences that I had as a child to stifle my voice, because I couldn't speak. I couldn't get up on a stage. I couldn't walk from one area in high school to the other. If there was if the football team was around, I just was so paralyzed out of fear of how I look and like, it was terrible. It was really like a terrible way to live. And so fast forward, because I don't want to make this story too long, but
no, please listen. There is someone who is going to listen to this, and that's exactly what she needs to hear.
Yeah.
So please, people don't just, you know, wander onto my podcast. All right. I am very selective who gets to, you know, pour into my listeners, and please no holds back. I know who I brought on here.
But it caused this like cycle of just over and over and over going back to this space of like, I just wanted to be loved. I just wanted attention. And I was not getting that from, I guess, men. I was heavier. I was always depressed about how sad how heavy I was. And if there was a relationship or some opportunity, it was like, oh, well, I don't date big girls, right? So I dealt with a lot of this feeling of like not enough. And again, identifying with these things that I felt back then. And so fast forward, like I mentioned, having the relationship with my husband that I did in college, I think that really helped me to start to heal and to hold, and for somebody to love you for you at your biggest, or you at whatever. So those things never mattered to him. And I think that started to make me identify that they shouldn't matter to me either. But
nonetheless, your essence.
Yeah. And nonetheless, though, I think I still, like I said, kept being in this loop of depression. And so I've always been raised in the church, always grew up with knowing God. But I would say starting in college, I started to get to know him for myself, right? Not just because mama and daddy tell you to, but like, I want to get to know you. And then more and more from there, I started to just like develop this relationship. But once I got married I'd say things didn't pan out like I thought. Like I just, I had this idea of marriage. I put it on this pedestal. It's the one thing I've always wanted. Because remember, I told you, like, I had this issue. Like, I want to be loved. I want a boyfriend so bad. I want a man. Like, that was this desire for me so much. So I get the marriage. And now I'm like, I don't know what to do with the marriage. Because this ain't the marriage I thought I was signing up for. I grew up in a household with my mom and my dad being all over each other. Like high school sweethearts. If my dad was, he passed a year ago, if he was still here, they'd still be, the same type of love that they had when they met each other back at 15 years old. So that's my lens of what I'm expecting marriage to be. But I also had an unrealistic lens because I never really got the insights about all the things they went through, right? So when I go through things, it starts to feel like it's something wrong with me and there's this isolation with me. And so I think God used my marriage as a lesson for me to one, realize like you're basically idolizing your marriage. And that's the problem right there. And so because you are, I'm going to strip you of some things. I'm going to make you go through some things to not only develop you in your relationship with your husband, but furthermore, to make you realize who your actual God is. Like, I need you to revert back to me and see me for who I am. Because there are things that I felt like I was putting on my husband that only God could give me. Like, I should not be looking to him to provide all those things.
Right.
You're my everything. No, you're not. You shouldn't be my everything. Like, my everything should be God, and you are supporting me, and you're a supporting actor in this movie that God is really the director of. And so I wasn't really shifting from that way. And I shared all of this to kind of show you my lens again from I'm looking for this man to kind of make me feel validated or to make me feel confident. And God's like, I need you to chill out because that ain't the man you actually need. And so from there, I think just internally, like I still was accomplishing all these things in my life, right? So the law school, the awards, the accolades, all those things were still taking place. So from the world standpoint, like, oh my gosh, you're so perfect. You got the perfect wedding. You got the house. You got the baby. You got the kid. You got, the career. You got all the things. But deep down inside, like, I'm struggling. I'm crying every night. I'm barely, like him and I, it's like ships and passing night. You know what I mean? Like barely communicating, barely talking, sleeping in separate beds, just all the things that from the outside, again, you guys are great. No, we're not. And I think I just, it led me to a place of just darkness over and over and over. And so that combined with what I was feeling weight-wise really just took me to a place of like complete surrender. I had nowhere else to go. Like I was at my lowest point. I didn't think that my marriage was going to make it. I didn't think I was going to make it personally. Like it was just too heavy of a time and a season in my life. And I just told God, like, all right, look, I done tried it my way. I done been out here and felt like I want to do my own thing, disregarded you, disregarded this marriage, and just kind of like, not including God in my life. And I know what that felt like. And my mom, I never forget, she called me one day randomly, didn't know too many details, but called me and said, I had a dream and God just like told me to tell you, like, everything that you have, he gave to you. In the same way he gave it to you is the same way he can take it away. And it was as crystal clear. And I knew what was happening in my life at that time, but it was such a like wake up call of like, you have to remember, like, ego aside, like all these things. Yes, I started this conversation. I was like, I'm really good at a lot of things. Yeah, I am, but I'm only good at it because somebody empowered me to do it, right? I have a backing that supports that. I have grace over my life. I have favor over my life. And I think I was just getting to a point where I was like a little too, I don't know, like feeling myself to the point where, yeah, it's good to be confident, but you have to remember like where your source comes from.
You're not the one who's in control of this. And
Yeah.
the source is, yeah. So
And
you
it
gotta
needs
make
some,
sure that there's a little humility that needed to get
yeah.
built into
And
into
it
the
did.
pattern.
And it
Yeah.
did. And I
And
think
usually
so.
he'll bring you to your knees to do it,
Yeah. And
to
that's
remind
honestly
you of who's really in control.
100%. And so
Yeah.
now I'm at this place where I'm like, all right, God, I surrender. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what you want me to do. But all I know is that it is something big. And I just kept saying it like, it just was so heavy in my heart. I went to church maybe a couple of days after that. And I said it out loud to my parents. And I was like, I don't know what is happening in my life. But I just know like God's doing something and it's big. And we're sitting there on the front row and the pastor stops mid-sentence and just looks at me, and he tells my parents, he was like, this child right here of yours, like what's gonna come out of her is something like this world have never seen, and it's gonna be big. And so as he's saying all these things to me, I just wept because I felt like, okay, God, I hear you, one, and you see me. Like you see me in my darkness, you see me at my hurt, you see me in my pain, and you still manage to speak to me in a way that I know only you are talking to me right now. And so from there, I watched this movie. A friend of mine kept recommending this movie to me called The War Room. And my mom had recommended it probably months ago as me and my husband was going through things, right? And I never watched it. I go and watch this movie called The War Room.
I will
And
watch this today.
it was like, I felt like it had hit me like bricks or whatever, but it just made me feel, gave me like the boost I needed. And I said, okay, I need a prayer closet. I need to create a space where I can have my special moment with God. And at that time, my closet literally, because y'all know I like to shop and stuff, but my closet literally kept collapsing, right? And it was like a real world example of what was happening to me. No matter how much I kept on pushing through in life and being like, trying to show up. And even at that time, I think I had lost maybe 50 pounds. And right. So although things were working, they weren't working efficiently, and they weren't working to its maximum capabilities because I still was not doing it God's way, right? And so this closet of mine that I would rig up would continue to collapse. And so in that moment, right after watching that movie, I went and found somebody and I said, instead of trying to do this little baby repair, I'm going to call somebody to rebuild my entire closet. And I'm going to have a nice walk-in closet. And I'm going to have this pretty little space that I can also have a little corner in where I can sit down and journal and talk to God. And that was the beginning, I would say, of my journey of really reaching wholeness and being healed. And I sat in that closet every single day for like a year straight. And I would sit there and I would cry out to God from all the things that I was dealing with. I remember, like, even like I told you, things that I experienced in childhood of holding bitterness and hurt and shame and feeling like, why would these things happen to me? I remember God telling me in that moment, like, I need you to forgive. And I need you to say the people that you forgive out loud. And if I kid you not, it felt like there was something on my tongue that had it confined, that I could not open my mouth. And the words were so hard to come out, but I finally forced through. And I said, and I named it out loud. And I said, I forgive. And I said the people out loud. And I kid you not, also, maybe like a couple of months or so later, I get a phone call from that same person randomly. I don't have the number because I, obviously no ties. And literally like acknowledging the hurt that was caused to me, apologizing for it, saying that God told them to call me. And so all these like supernatural things kept happening to me in that season. It was just a very high season, a heightened, spiritual season for me, where I was being so obedient to God and seeing the immediate like fruits of that obedience. Like I was literally experiencing it in real time. From there, of having that portal, I would say, because that's the only way I can describe it, that portal open of like clearly hearing him as I was like, in the heart of my healing process. That's when I heard him as crystal clear. And I still have the journal entry where I wrote down and I said, okay, let me back up a little bit and see how I even came with the name. So, like I said, I'm in this season where I'm just doing nothing but word. I'm watching every sermon there could be. I'm literally healing myself from the inside out. Everything. I mean, when I say
I'm season, girl. Listen.
I'm
Listen.
listening, okay? When I say I'm eating it up, I'm like a
Girl.
baby. Because I was that
And the weeping is
depleted.
real. Like because
Yes.
you're literally, it's like, it's a cleansing that needs to
Mm-hmm.
happen. And so it's as you're putting the word in, you got to flush stuff out. It's like
Yes.
having an emotional colonic. You got to be,
Yes.
that's what I call it, is an emotional
Yes.
colonic. Yes.
It was so real for me, and I was just, and it was the repetition, it was the discipline, all of it played into everything that I was doing at that time. And a friend sent me over a sermon, and it was TD Jakes actually, and I listened to it, and it was on Romans 8, right? Something along the line, right? So I listened to that, and then the next day, I think someone else sent me something, and it was something about Romans 8. So I go to sleep that day. I wake up the next morning, and I'm still like, God, I'm so lost in my life and my career. What am I supposed to do? Because this don't feel like I'm just supposed to be an attorney. I just know there's something big. I don't know what it is. And I sat there in my closet, my newly, created closet now. And I said, all right, I just want you to speak a word to me, and I'm going to open up, and wherever it lands, and that's the word that you want from me. I opened up the Bible, it landed on Romans 8. And I was like, I can't make this up.
Yeah.
I know people won't believe me,
You're right.
but I am not crazy.
He
This
is
is
real, baby.
hello. And
Hello.
it dropped on Romans 8, and I read it in its entirety. And I realized in that moment that every song that's gotten me through in life, every saying that I had heard, it had all been derivative from scriptures out of this same chapter, and my mind was blown. And I started to really say, like, look over my life and look over the experiences that I've had, and I say, Romans 8:28 is really my life. All things work for the good of those who are called according to his name, right? Those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So it made it so clear in my mind, like, Chanae, you check those boxes. You know you love him. You know you're called. Every single thing that you've gone through has now been used for something else. Everything, even the pain that I've experienced in my marriage with my husband, both him and I, was now we're on Envision Love talking about our relationship. So every single thing, works for my good. The loss of my father, I thought that was gonna like have me upside down, and it probably should have. But because I was doing the work that I was doing before to heal, I was able to withstand that loss. So I think every single thing just started to click of like, it all works for your good. And in that moment, as crystal clear as my journal entry is, it's like on this day, God gave me a vision of Rom 8. And that same morning, or maybe it was the next day or the day before, I told you I had that audible voice that came in my mind. I said, don't be afraid to go outside the four corners of the box. And it was because, again, I was trapped in this idea of what a lawyer should look like,
Right.
and what a lawyer should be doing. And so from his perspective, God's like, I didn't tell you that. I told you don't be afraid to go outside the box. Like, if you stay in this box, you're going to stay in the same position. So in my journal, I'm just writing about, I'm going to have a company, and it's going to be called Rom 8, and it's going to house everything that I stand for. All these things that I can't make sense of, like, it looks like she's all over the place. She's, a beauty influencer one day, and the next day she's over here building stuff on her page, and then after that she's having a conference, and then she's a lawyer too. Like, it doesn't make sense. But
Oh my God, can we please normalize that?
right. I'm like, it made sense to God, because that's how he wired me, and that's what he has now called me to do. And so Rom 8 was birthed, I say, from my pain, and I use it now to walk women through the process of healing the same way I did. Like, right? Like, my life looked like it was good, but it was not aligned. It kept collapsing. I kept coming back to the same thing
You were the
until I
closet.
went in. Yeah. Until I went in and like fixed that foundation for real, for real. And so that's what Ron made, I think, in a long-winded way. That's
So
how.
well said, all the way through and through. That's what they
That's
needed
what
to
Ron made
hear.
is.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
absolutely love that you said more than once that it was through healing yourself that all of these revelations came to you, that
Yes.
life was always happening for you, nothing was ever happening to you. it all worked together to bring you to this place where, because at the top of the call, of the episode, you said, you know, I'm all these things. You talked about your
Yeah.
confidence and all the things, and but it wasn't always this way.
Mm-mm.
That's the part that I want to make sure people get. It takes a process, and God will take you to a dark place
Yes, ma'am.
to deal with you and to reveal to you all the things that were embedded in you,
Yeah.
and for you to come on and be able to say in a confident, humble way that I am that girl.
Yeah.
Because you are the main character. It is about, I love when you said the supporting roles. You know, we talk about that when we were together. I told you, you are the main character of this movie. You have your supporting actors, you have your extras, right?
Yeah.
And you have your creator who built all of this good into you that is supporting all of those dreams coming to fruition. And so the fact that, you're an attorney doesn't stop the fact that you're also that beauty girl, and doesn't stop the fact that you do hold space for women. And how incredible is it that it is your pain that God is using for you to also hold space. And some people say to me, why do you do these from clearance to priceless retreats and all of that? And I say, it's because I don't want my pain to go in vain. I want another woman to have a shortcut as a result of the fact that I paid this price so that she can get to
Absolutely.
it faster. And so talk about, let's get into Envision Me 2026. I'm super excited that we're going to be doing this dance together.
Yes.
I saw, as soon as I saw this stuff, it kept coming up. And I had been seeing you with Ramade. I had seen some stuff, but I was like, I gotta support this. I don't know how I'm gonna support it, but I really dig the fact that you're creating a platform, especially at the top of a new year, where I think 2025, a lot of people were were definitely confronted. Okay,
Yes.
let's just use that word.
Yes, ma'am.
I think energetically, just all the things, 2025 was very confronting. And so as we step into 2026, creating a platform where you are calling women to step into their main character, right? You're calling them to come back to self and to water those various gifts that they have, and normalize doing all the things and being all the things,
Yeah.
at your pace, of course, right?
Mhm.
Talk about what was the catalyst behind Envision Me 2026, and what you hope to do with that when we do that dance in January. I was like, that's a long ass question, but you understand everything.
I
You're
got
a
you.
lawyer, you get it.
Yes.
You're long-winded.
So envision me, like I said, it is something that I've just really felt was needed. And let me just give you a little backstory though about Envision Me, just a little
Please
bit,
do.
because I can't say that it was like I woke up one day and was like, I'm going to create Envision Me and we're going to have this conference the same way that God gave me the vision for Raw Made. I feel like Envision Me, it's almost like being on the edge of something and somebody pushing you off, right? Like, you want to bungee jump, but you're so afraid. And that's kind of like what I stumbled into Envision Me. So we started doing micro events, micro wellness events with Ron Mate. Started off with a brunch, and then the next thing I did a partnership, and I worked with a group called Girl Power Rocks, which is a very special nonprofit that does just good work for at-promise girls. And the folks around there, they just loved me. We connected, and I didn't have a facility at the time and to host this wellness event that we're hosting. So I partnered with Girl Power. We had this like Pilates, nutrition and Pilates type event that I partnered with a friend on. We did it at their community center in Overtown. Miss Thema, the director of Girl Power, after the event's over, was like, this was in November of 2022. She goes, this was amazing. I mean, phenomenal event. We got to do this again. We're going to do it in January. And so I'm in November, and now she just told me she wanted me to do another event in January. And I'm sitting here like, Miss Thema, what you mean? And what I'm going to do the event about? And now I'm like, so what am I going to do in January? So I went back in the corner like, all right, God. So I guess I'm here now. You forcing me to do an event because I'm not going to tell her no. So, all right, I guess I'm going to do something in January. I'm going to call it Envision Me because it's the top of the year and I want it to be vision board related. I want women to be able to like come in and get all the tools, the resources they need to be able to make it. This was a one-day event that we hosted January of 2024 in Overtown at a community center. And we brought in the drapes. We did all the things to try to, to elevate it as much as we could. And I'm so grateful for that first Envision Me because people have no idea when they see what we have now and they see it at the scale that it's at, they think we've been at it for years. And I have to be reminded, oh no, baby, like this is how you know this thing is divine. And this is how you know there's favor upon it. Because I always say, God moves me further faster. And it's like when you're aligned with him, what might take people years to do, he will do that thing in half the time or less.
I say he collapses time. Yeah. He just,
100%.
he collapses years into months and months into weeks and weeks into days.
Yes. So the demand and the response from that one day, or even half a day, because I think the event was from like 12 to 6 or something. The demand was like, this was so good and we need more of this. And you got to fit in relationships and you got to fit in more on the wellness side and you got to fit in all these things. And I was like, okay, y'all want a lot. We can't do that in one day. We got to build this out to a 3-day conference. And then I realized from that moment the how hungry women were for this, and especially Black women. Like, we don't have a lot of spaces that we can go to that feels good and doesn't make us feel like we don't belong, right? I go to networking events all the time and they're boring, or I don't feel like I fit in. And this was a space that I know I wanted to create for a professional like me, that yes, I'm a professional, but girl, I like to have a good time and I like to look cute too. I don't want to be in no gray and black suit. Right. I want to be fly. So Envision Me started as this opportunity where we had an opportunity to do an event. I had to figure out what that event looked like in a short amount of time. And then I realized like, oh, women need this. And so for Envision Me 2026, what women can look forward to is not only the experience, I would say, from going to a luxury conference and feeling like glam and the photo moments and all those things. Yes, it's going to be that, because I don't know how not to do that. But
that's a facet of you that is necessary for that, right?
Exactly.
That fashion piece, that love for, like that eye is necessary. So you see how all these other parts of you, just you couldn't do without them. So that, okay, just want to.
It's a part of the experience. Like, and that's what I call it. Envision Me is an experience that you have to experience for yourself to really get to appreciate the value of it. And so what I thought about for this year's theme was really about like the woman who maybe she had the dream years ago, but feel like it's too far removed, feel as though like, well, how am I going to walk in my purpose? I got all these kids now. I'm already in my career. I'm stuck here. Like, we have these visions sometimes that we ourselves bury, not that somebody else did. And so this conference, our theme is like, pick up the vision, right? And even if you are a woman who's already picked yours up and you're walking in your purpose, then you also need to be there to encourage your sister to pick hers up. So it's twofold. It's a sense of, yes, I want to encourage you, empower you so you can walk in your God-given purpose. But I also don't want women who feel like, well, then I don't need to go because I'm already in my career. I already have my purpose. No, you do, because that means that you need to be there to help the girl sitting next to you who's, struggling in a way. So I feel like I create these spaces not just for me and the women like you that I've invited to come and be a part of this platform is not just for us to pour into people, it's for them to pour back into us. It's for the people in the audience to pour into each other too, because leaving Envision Me, when I say it brings me so much joy, when I see on Instagram people that I know only know each other from Envision Me and how besties they are and how much love is shown, like you leave there having true sisterhood. And I don't think you get that often at some conferences because you're so caught up in what I guess these speakers on the stage can provide, which is great. But what I love about Envision Me, even personally, is like I'm very intentional. Every single person that is stepping foot on Envision Me stage, I would have already either met with them, felt the vibe, the same way you just described, like how you don't play about your platform. Not everybody gets to have this, this opportunity is the same way I feel about Envision Me. I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care how big you are. I can care less because my God is bigger. And so in my mind, all I care about is, do I connect with your heart? Do I feel like you're going to make the people that show up to this conference, which most of them come because of me, are those people that are sitting in that seat gonna feel the same warm hug that I'm gonna give them? Like, I need people to reflect that same energy, because I feel like if you spend your money to come to something, one, but for two, your time. If it's one thing I don't play about, it's my time, because you're never gonna get it back, right?
1,000%.
So if you give me your time, I'm going to give you like my respect. I'm going to give you my attention. I'm going to make you feel appreciated for showing up. And so speakers for me are important because yes, they help to give like tools and knowledge and understanding, but I need you to also make the people in the audience feel seen, because they gave us their time and their attention. And that's the least we can do, is not just like talk at them, but to like embrace them, see them, like experience them. And I just feel like Envision Me, it's just special. It's something that has grown into being like honestly one of my favorite Raw Mate events. And obviously I'm biased, right? I love them all. But it's something about it. But I'll stop there and let you
No,
see.
but listen, and again, that's what I wanted everyone to hear, is the heart behind it, because the intentionality that you're talking about, people can put a conference together. Putting a conference, you can get sponsors. It's putting an event together is one thing, but putting something that is curated in a way that the outcome for the woman who's sitting in the audience is what's being worked on when speakers are being selected. The like you said, the sisterhood that you're already setting up, because that's what you're doing. In effect, you're creating bonds already. And it's not till January, but those bonds are already being casted. Those transformational moments are already being curated. And that's what's behind Envision Me. That's what I'm hearing. And even myself, one of the things that, when you and I spoke and we talked about, building what I'm going to be doing into the conference, it's at the end of it, how do I want her to feel? How do I want, what actions do I want her to now be empowered to take because she listened to my bit? And and I think that as I'm seeing you posting women, and I look at them. I see you're posting, I go to their page, because I'm like, let's see, right? And I see the intentionality in the selection. They're all servant leaders, is what I call women like that, those speakers, they're servant leaders and students, right? Because that's another thing. When you say you're not here, I'm certainly not coming just to talk at anybody. I'm coming because I want to also learn. And, I always say school's never out for the pros, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
got to keep learning, you got to keep, because you don't know who can teach you something.
Yep.
And so, if you are listening and you are, so it's give the details, please, because and I'm gonna have the link to the event in the notes, but I would like for you to talk about where it's gonna be, when it's gonna be, all the good things,
Yes,
because that
ma'am.
we need people registered, butts in the seats, get here, come and change your life.
Yes.
Come change the trajectory. Come get the empowerment, come get the juice, come get the connections, come get
Yes.
the relationships. That's where it's at. People, you can't do, and you and I are lone wolves, so we will figure it out. We'll just do it by
Mm-hmm.
ourselves if we have to. But oh my God, how much easier is it when you just connect with like-minded people
Yep.
who want to see you win as well. And so it's only in events that are intentionally curated like this that you find your people. So talk about
Mm-hmm.
where they can get their tickets, when it's going to be, and all the things. Give us the details.
Absolutely. And just like you said, it is a transformational experience. I'm in the process now of getting some testimonials from some of our attendees just to see, like, this is what I mean, like some things that were changed out of people, marriages, their business relationships. All of this was birthed from Envision Me. And it's like not me making it up. These are actual real stories that people can share about their Envision Me experience. So get ready for that too, because I think that is also very telling as to why people should make an investment into this conference. So it's January 23rd through the 25th. And this year, we're actually going to be at the Hilton Aventura. And so it's a beautiful hotel. We have a discount rate that's available up until December 20th. So we always encourage people, like, make the investment, pay for the ticket and get you a room, because just being able to be at the hotel the entire weekend just makes for, I would say, the ultimate experience. You get to hang out by the bar a little longer and talk and don't have to feel like you got to rush home. And so tickets can be, you can buy your tickets at envisionmeconference.com. And so we have general admission that's available, as well as our VIP experience. All the tickets include your meals in terms of your light breakfast in the morning, as well as your lunch in the afternoon. And on Sunday, it is an exclusive brunch. I don't know that many conferences that give you all that inclusive in your ticket, including gift bags with very great gifts with sponsors that really did their big one. Like, we don't give you little cards in your gift bags. Like, you get real products. And so on that Sunday, which I'm so excited about, we have Envision Beauty. And we've got some great activations, for Raw Mate as well, because we're going to be really spoiling the girls to show up in a way that makes them feel beautiful and confident and loved. And so that Sunday is all about, we're bringing this all together. We've learned so much, but now I'm with my sisters, I'm with my girls, I feel good, and I'm celebrating other women who are like-minded and who are girls themselves. So Sunday is just bring out the outfits, girls. Okay, I want to see it. I'm just saying, I want to see the fits. I want you to show up in the gowns. I don't care, but I want you to look good, and I want, it is a predominantly black woman, but it's for all women, right? You need to come and feel like your very best on that Sunday. But yeah, it is just really an experience that I think is one of a kind and unique in the sense that it's made for us, by us, intentional, curated. Like, it's very detailed oriented, and you're going to get your money's worth. I know, Kara, you got me together because you was like, baby, them prices need to go up next year. What is you doing?
Yeah. Because again, I know the value you're pouring into it. It's
Yeah.
the value, right? And a room like that is very few and far between. Like, you're not finding a room like that. And
Yeah.
so and I think that we can't emphasize that enough, is the rarity behind
Hmm.
the rarity of the space. And again, I'm one of those, like I've said to you, I've invested over a good $250,000 in my self-development, in getting into rooms. I've flown all over the place: Vegas, LA, Fresno, California, like anywhere that there's a seminar,
Yeah.
to grow myself, right? And they're not rooms that have us in them, right? They're other kinds of rooms, right? But I had to travel a lot to put myself in rooms that even came close to giving this kind of not only information, but like you said, experience. And so it really, if you're listening and you're looking to start your 2026 with a bang, right? Envision Me is just a no-brainer. And this is the last time you're gonna get it at this price, because I done spoke to my girl about fixing that next year. so
did.
so jump on it, get the opportunity to not only, again, develop yourself, transform your mind, transcend your blocks, because
Yeah.
that's where it's at. You are the tool that you're doing life with. You're the main character, right? And the sharper the tool is, the more effective you are. And the more you sharpen yourself, you tweak things in your mind, you heal things in your body, you heal ideas about yourself, you let go of limiting beliefs. Those are the kinds of things that are going to happen in those 3 days. The more you do that, the more powerfully you show up in your life. And then, of course, your results are going to change. Your relationships are going to get better. Your money will be up. Like, all of those things happen because you're better. But you only get better in environments that are curated to, and intentionally so, to cause that in you. And so don't sleep on Envision Me 2026, baby. Because I know I'll be there like, pouring, connecting, loving, and again, like you said, delivering warm hugs. Because
Yes.
isn't that what we need? Especially, I mean, of course, all women need that, but particularly us brown girls who,
Hello.
we need a little extra loving, and we need an extra loving from the ones of us who have figured it out, who
Yeah.
who swim, because a lot of what we experience it's a sink or swim, and the choice to swim uphill, to get here it's a difficult one, and it's costly. It costs you a lot to get here, and I see you, my friend, because I know the journey, and I
Yeah.
know the price you paid. And yeah, I'll stop there because I could keep going, right?
Listen, you and me both. Like, this is stuff that I feel like I'm so passionate about. Like, it's because the soft skills sometimes get overlooked by, the hard ones, the legal ones, and all this other stuff. That's great too. But baby, if that soul ain't right, if your emotions ain't stable? Who you helping?
Right.
How you gonna get
It's
money?
not even only about who you helping, baby. You're not fulfilled. You're
No.
empty. You're doing all the things. Listen, thing, the worst thing that can happen in this lifetime, I think, to a person is to have done a whole bunch of stuff and look successful on the outside without the fulfillment. And I think
Yeah.
it was Tony
Yeah.
Robbins who said, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Yeah, Tony Robbins said that. And it
Indeed.
is like, take that to success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, because you
Yeah.
literally will have used your entire life, all your energy, all you know, yourself, your soul, and then got nothing inside to say, oh my God, yeah, I did that. It's
Yeah.
just the empty, it's just for the chase. We're not doing that. We're not doing
Yeah.
that. So
Nope. Not on my
yeah.
watch.
No. So, Chanae, this was incredible. You delivered, of course, everything I knew and then some. So thank you for blessing our audience, our listeners. And again, make sure that you check out envisionmeconference.com, that you get your tickets. I will be there all 3 days. We will be doing the thing and really having a great time and changing some lives. So yeah, girl, thank you so much for being here, for sharing yourself and your story. Your story's powerful. Your story's powerful. And I know a lot of women listening will see themselves in your story. So until next time.
Thank you.
You were just listening to the Unfiltered with Kara podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to receive new episode notifications. Also, if you found value in this content, please take a moment to like, comment, and share it with those you love. Until next time, much love and light to you and yours.